Hi, everyone. My name is Joe Legilia, and on this episode of Not Your Average Joe, we're speaking with Jordan Holwell and Don Curby of A Heart of a Veteran. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Not Your Average Joe, powered by Mortgage Message. My name is Joe Legilia, and today I'm joined with Jordan Holwell and Don Curby of A Heart of a Veteran. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So I'm so excited to have you guys on the show for season 2. We've met many, many years ago, and I've been following your journey for the last few years, and to be able to share this very inspirational story with my audience, it's an honor for me, so I want to say thank you for being here. I think I want to first start and get into this by asking you, Jordan, just a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what we might be talking about today.
So, my name is Jordan Howell. I am the owner of Higher Energy Massage Therapy, and that's how all of this started. When I went into doing massage, I always offered low or no cost massage to the military veterans, active duty, and I would hear their stories over the years. So I've been doing this for 19 years and I've heard all these stories. And so about 6 years ago, the suicide epidemic amongst veterans was out of control, as was the opioid epidemic. And we would always sit and talk about it, and I got to a point like, we need to do something about it, so let's do something. So that's how Heart of a Veteran started, was just by hearing stories of veterans and the things that they went through and the help that they could get or couldn't get and the frustration. So that's how we ended up here today.
Well, and what I love about that start, and I just want to say this for recognition purposes, we could stop the interview there and that's enough of a contribution. To be considered a local hero in this community, to do that for the veterans, to see the need and to answer the call. But above and beyond that, besides offering low to no cost therapy for our veterans, you decided to bring something even more to the veterans. Speak to me a little bit about going through that journey and then entering into the Heart of a Veteran.
So I emailed a friend and I said, this was in August of 6 years ago, 2000 something, 15, 16. And I said, hey, I have an idea. What are your thoughts? And she's like, this is a great idea. So I threw it out there to a bunch of friends. I said, if you know of a veteran who wants to tell their story, we're looking for veterans from World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm, and Iraqi freedom and enduring freedom. And we got a flood of emails. And I had to pick, I think I got about 200. So we had to pick people that I knew that were local, but not everybody in the book, Heart of a Veteran, is local. So we decided to have veterans tell their story and compile it into a book. And we sell the book. It's sold on Amazon now, but and all the money goes to an organization called the Brothers in Arms Foundation. We never wanted to make money off of it. It was always for charity. I had no idea what I was doing. I was flying by the seat of my pants. So all these veterans, we talked to them. Some of them we transcribed their stories for them, but they all wrote their own story about who they were before, during, and after, and how the military affected them. And you can see from like World War II and Korea, they just came home and lived their lives, and nobody talked about, in Vietnam, nobody talked about shell shock or PTSD. PTSD wasn't a word until Desert Storm. And then we started talking about what is post-traumatic stress and this, and then so that's sort of, I wanted people to see the progression. And there are people who have emailed me and said, why would you let this person have a book deal? And I'm like, it's not a book deal. They wrote their story. The point of the story is, this is what happens to people in service.
Amen.
And these are the struggles that they have. And maybe you don't agree with the outcome of their story, but it's a product of their service and they need the help. So that's how the book came about. And I think Don and I met years before that, but supported sort of the book and the whole journey. And then after the book came out, it was about 2 years later, I was like, is that all we're supposed to do? And so I prayed about it. And very clearly the message was like, open a holistic wellness center, provide holistic care to veterans and their caregivers. And I was like, okay. So I called and got a couple people, and Don jumped on board and has been my amazing vice chair ever since then, and has put up with a lot. So
well, and there's so much to unpack there. There's so much to unpack. And I sit here holding a copy of the book, proud to be an owner of this book because of what you just explained is behind it, and to give veterans a voice to be able to share their story just in and of itself, I think is inspirational. I was introduced to this book when my dear friend Don here, who's a community leader, as you mentioned, walked into a Plainfield Lions meeting with you and introduced this to the Plainfield Lions as a local community opportunity to be able to have us lift that up in the form of funds and in the form of awareness. And having many, many veterans in my life, family members and friends, this cause really resonated with me. And I guess I would like to go a little bit deeper with how you and Don got connected on this.
We met through the Small Business Advocacy Council originally.
Right, yeah.
So it's been, 10 years? Maybe?
At least, yeah.
And we just sort of stayed in touch. But I knew he was a veteran, and for some odd reason, he likes me and supports me. I don't,
Well, let's hear Don's version, right?
Don,
Let's hear
What
Don's
is
version.
your version, Don?
Oh, well, she needed some help, and I have a nephew who spent 14 or 15 months in Afghanistan with the 10th Mountain Division. 80 pounds on his back when they would leave the base, and they would come back a month, 2 months later for a day to get some sleep and maybe wash their clothes, I guess, and then go back out again. So he has back problems today and PTSD. He's told me he started counting firefights, and when he hit 30, before they were 30 days in country, he says, I stopped counting. He has PTSD, and he has back issues. He volunteered. He's not complaining about it, but he has it. And he's not the only one by any means. People need help, and they're afraid. Many of them are afraid to go to the VA or their regular doctor because they're going to get opioids, and they're afraid of the potential for addiction. So when she said that was really a driving force behind it, I said, I want to help.
Wow, just beautiful, beautiful story. So the Heart of the Veteran kicks off, and you guys start this journey, brand new non-for-profit. And as we know, a lot of it has to do with fundraising. A lot of it has to do with people getting involved and volunteering. Kind of speak a little bit about the journey from the start of this to where we are today, and then maybe follow up with what the goals are for the future.
So it's been a roller coaster, I would think. We started this off, and we had a great first couple of fundraisers, and then COVID happened. And we actually had found a space to have a clinic March of 2020, and we were getting ready to sign this really sweet deal on this property space, and they shut down. And the landlord said, well, are you going to be able to do your annual fundraiser? And I said, well, if you know me, I will do it. But he was a little nervous that wasn't going to happen. So he changed the terms of our lease, and it just wasn't feasible for us to do. So we pivoted, and we said, we'll partner with organizations or practitioners around the country and get a discounted rate, and we'll just do it that way. So we don't have to pay rent. We don't have overhead. And it's worked out pretty good for us overall.
Wow.
We partner with local people, but I have veterans from all over the country who need help. So we have a place in North Carolina that's amazing, and I went down there earlier this year and spent some time, or it was actually November of last year, and spent some time there, and we are sending veterans there regularly. I actually partner with a gym in Glen Ellen called Health Track, and not only did we do massage, lymphatic drainage, we use all their spa services for our veterans, and there are many veterans that actually go to that gym, but they have yoga classes and Pilates classes. So we offer to pay a portion of their gym membership so they can utilize personal training and the other services within the gym. And so the spa has graciously given us a very big discount on services. So if they go in for a massage, we get a discount on that. So it's been a great partnership.
I love the collaboration side of hearing that, and so much of the reason why you both have been nominated to be on the show by other community members is to bring more awareness to this, because we know the resources are out there to help lift this organization up. We have, obviously fundraising is a big deal, and on the calendar this year, you may have some events that are coming up. Maybe speak a little bit to some of those efforts.
I'm going to have Don speak, because we usually do a big gala, but this year we're going to do a golf outing.
Yes, it's a golf outing this year, May 19th at Tamarack Golf Club in Naperville. Very standard. We hope to have around 100 golfers, but uncertain because it's our first year doing it. We'll have a car for hole-in-one, hole sponsors, dinner afterwards with auction and raffles and that kind of stuff. So it should be a lot of fun. But it's all about the fundraising, really. I mean, that's what everybody has to remember.
Absolutely. Well, you can have us on the record right now for Oakley Community Mortgage being a sponsor and grabbing some foursomes.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate your help.
And speaking of the fundraising efforts, I mean, just to give context as far as so much that you guys have poured into this, maybe talk about what type of stats do we have leading up in the short amount of years that you guys have been at this?
So we've probably raised $60,000 over 3 years. Of course, we'd like to make more. We're trying to get some grants. We run into issues because we've not been around for 5 years, and that seems to be the grant standard, 5 to 7 years. But we put out way more than we bring in sometimes, and a lot of it comes out of my own pocket, and so we just are. We have the one big fundraiser, but we need to look at monthly donations, and we're getting set up that we can accept those. We've gotten some really amazing help from an auctioneer group that did a workshop and just provided us with a lot of information. So we're changing how we're doing things, and I'm really excited about that. So, but we do have monthly giving. If people are interested in just giving a little donation every month, that turns into something big. But honestly, people need to know, like a $50 donation can get a veteran a massage every month. A $2,500 donation can help us help a veteran for an entire year. So we have practitioners that do like 7-day programs with our veterans. We have practitioners that do what's called functional neurology, and that can get very costly, and brain plasticity work, but that's our high end. But we also have yoga instructors who help us for free. So it's across the board. We are struggling, I think, to figure out and get into a flow of how do we raise the money. So our yearly fundraiser has been our biggest fundraiser. Next spring, we're hoping to do a gala in a new location with the new information that we've gotten through these workshops. So fingers crossed we're doing that. But I have one of our board members lives in Missouri, and I'm actually going down to see her in a couple weeks, and I'm helping them with a fundraiser in Missouri. But she is always up here helping me behind the scenes. So, and she's a veteran Marine herself, and she works for the Veterans Curation Program, which hires veterans to do archaeological digs for the military.
Wow.
So we have a lot of different contacts all across the nation that are willing to help us. It's just, how do we do it? We need a lot of volunteers. We need a lot of help. And we, if anybody's interested in being on our board, we can use that help too. I mean, this is a fly by the seat of your pants kind of thing sometimes. And I'm new to this. So I'm always willing to listen and get the help that we need.
Well, and I think the greatest takeaway for me is just the passion behind this, and I think having that, everything else flows from there. And you guys have abundance of passion for this and for this cause for our veterans. I'm excited because I think we're going to bring a ton of awareness to this golf outing. We're going to sell it out for you. We're going to make it a great fundraising effort. And I just, looking back at the last few years, knowing that I believe I met you guys right at kind of the infancy stage of this, and seeing where you're at today, just the momentum and the growth, and as you said, the struggles that we're overcoming. I'd love to hear from both of you individually about maybe just one really, really rewarding story that you can recall over the last few years through this effort.
You've got a whole lot more.
I
Jordan,
do. I mean, I've got some amazing stories from a gentleman who heard me on a radio show. He's in his 80s. He came to me because he's having back problems and hip problems, and so I gave him a massage, and then I hooked him up with a massage therapist near him, and every 3 months, we had a conversation about how much I love nuts and cashews. Every 3 months, I get 3 pounds of cashews delivered to my house. Every 3 months.
Beautiful.
But one of my favorite people is Adam Kanash. He was one of the authors of our book and really instrumental in helping us get all the people. And I've stayed in touch with him through the years. He started today. He and a friend that were in a conflict together in Afghanistan, and his friend lost both of his legs. They're walking the Appalachian Trail, 2,900 miles.
Amazing.
To walk the war out of them, and they started today.
Amazing.
It's called Operation AT, and I'm so excited for him. And all the money that they make for donations goes to the Brothers in Arms Foundation to help fund their journey and help the Brothers in Arms. So I am really excited, and he's just an amazing human being. And I stay in touch with many of the people that wrote the book, and Robert Canine. I got to go to his wedding, and his, have been involved with his kids being born. So they're going to be up here next weekend. So I'm really excited to see them. And it's just honestly, when I've had people come in and they've had no hope, and they'll get a massage, or we'll get them to a chiropractor, and then they say, "Oh, I have hope," and to hear those words come out of somebody's mouth, it makes it all worth it. If we stay really small, we stay really small. But if we can give somebody hope, then I guess that's all that's what we were meant to do. So.
Absolutely beautiful. Don, I'm going to try to ask you to follow that.
Well, we elicit feedback from everyone that we help out, and a couple times we've heard, I feel as good as I have in a long, long time.
Yeah.
On numerous occasions.
Yeah.
And that's really makes you feel good about what we're doing, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, the relationship side of this, when I hear Jordan talk about this, and again, being the voice for so many that need that support, it's just amazing. I want to close the interview by asking both of you, you have been nominated through the community to be here today, and this is a show about lifting up real community heroes, and you two wear that very, very well.
Thank you.
But who is your hero?
I would have to say, I have two cousins, my dad's nephews, that were Navy SEALs for 20 plus years. They did not have an easy life growing up, but they made amazing careers out of what they did. So Brian and Byron Krista are probably two of my most favorite heroes.
Beautiful.
But but anybody who has served is my hero. I mean, I'm a woman in this country who has these amazing freedoms because 18 and 19 and 20-year-olds have stepped up and taken an oath to protect those freedoms. And I can walk around and wear pants and read a book and go to school where other women in other countries can't. So for me, that's what drives me, is the freedom that I have in this country. We're not a perfect country, but oh my gosh, I'm just thankful to be here and know that there are people who, are willing to fight to protect the freedoms that we do have.
Amen. Amen. Don.
Yeah, there's a couple. I mean, obviously, I've met so many. I'm a member of the VFW, the American Legion. There's two that come to mind. One gentleman was a swift boat gunner in Vietnam. He manned twin 30 or 50 caliber machine guns. He has terrible hearing today, dual hearing aids, because of all the gunfire and exposure to Agent Orange. He has cancer. So he's dealing with all that. It's very unfortunate. The other is my brother-in-law's father. He was a tank commander in World War II. With Patton, drove up the coast of Italy. I only got to talk to him very briefly about that because he, I guess, didn't really talk a lot about it, but it was eye-opening for sure. I served in the Navy during Desert Storm, and we sat off the coast and had 3 or 4 square meals a day and a warm bunk to sleep in. It's a very different thing. So those guys who really had to dig a hole with which not only to sleep in, but to protect themselves from the bullets that are flying over their head. Those are my heroes,
Just
I
great.
had it easy, I know it.
Just great shares. Great shares. Jordan, Don,
Thank you.
I know someone who's watching this right now, whether it be through financial fundraising or whether it be through volunteerism. wants to be a part of this organization, wants to be a part of these efforts for our veterans, what's the best way that they can get connected with you guys?
You know, honestly, they can call us directly. Can I give my phone?
Absolutely.
My number is 708-769-5634. Text, call, or email us at info@heartofaveteran.org or dkirby@heartofaveteran.org or jordan@heartofaveteran.org.
And we've upped our game with the website too, heartofaveteran.org, and it's much more interactive than it used to be, and easy to find out what we're doing, how you can help, and so forth.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both for being real community heroes.
Thank you for
Thanks,
having
Joe.
us.
I appreciate it.
We appreciate you being here, and thank you to our audience for tuning in to another episode of Not Your Average Joe, powered by Mortgage Message. We'll see you next week, everybody. Take care.